Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Ram Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada,
Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev.
Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Oh Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande. Hari Bol.
Jai Jai Shri Radhe. बैठ जाओ खाली. Thank you. That was good. Big round of applause for that little kirtan. So there was an asana here, a white one. White chairs, fine.
Things what to the default.
So thank you for joining in. That was really nice. It charges your battery for the rest of the week. So now today,
We're going to have a class by a very young man. He's going to give a class on Bhagavad Gita in the temple room for the first time. His name is Sudarshan, and he's quite dedicated. He plays the mardanga so nicely, sings. He remembers shlokas as well. And he went to Vrindavan recently and learned more about mardangas and joining in Kirtan. So he's come back really changed. So yesterday I met him, I said, why don't you give a class? And he didn't say no. He said, okay, I'll do that. So please encourage him. Just briefly, Jai Radha Madhav, just one line, so we'll follow you and then give the class. So we know the philosophy, you know the philosophy, but we train the children here to then go out in the world and tell others about the philosophy as well. Just to know a formula and not share it with someone is very selfishness, you know. And as Prabhupada left Bharat when he was 70, went to America to share it, and look at the explosion. It's called the Hare Krishna explosion. In every town, there is an ISKCON center or some sort of gathering, and there might not be a United Nations office in every town, but there's a Hare Krishna center there, even Russia, wherever. So we're so proud. So, Sudarshan, we've got to control her. Yes, yeah.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Hari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya
Yashodhanandana Vraja Janarandana
Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana
Yashodhanandana Vraja Janarandana
Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So Hare Krishna everyone, thank you for coming today and welcome to the program. Thank you to Hare Aspo and Brother Prabhu for giving me the opportunity to speak today. So I'd like to start on Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, text 13. So if everyone can please repeat after me. Dehinosmin
Dehinosmin
yatha dehe
yada dehe
kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuyati dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara तथा देहांतर प्राप्तिर धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति. Okay, so I'll go on to the word for word. So dehin, of the embodied, asmin, in the, asmin, in this, yatha, as, dehe, in the body, kaumaram, boyhood, yavanam, youth, jara, old age, praptir, achievement, dhira, the sober, tatra, thereupon, na, never, muyati, is deluded. So translation by Shri Prabhupada ki jai. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, similarly the soul passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into the other body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there is no cause for lamentation but urgent on the account of death, neither for Bhishma nor Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of the body accounts for varieties of enjoyment or suffering, according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in their next life, or at least life in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case there was no cause of lamentation. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and nature, both material and spiritual, is called dhira, or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by changes of body. The Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained, on the grounds that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as a fragmental portion. Such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable or changeable against the principle of the supreme soul being unchangeable. As confirmed in the Gita, the fragmental portions of the supreme exist eternally, sanatana, and are called sharas. That is, they have a tendency to fall down into the material nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, fragmental. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead. The theory of the reflection can be applied to the super soul, who is present in each and every individual body and is known as Paramatma. He is different from the individual living entity. When the sky is reflected in the water, the reflections represent both the sun and the moon, and the stars also. The stars can be compared to the living entities, and the sun or the moon to the Supreme Lord. The individual fragmental spirit soul is represented by Arjuna, and the Supreme Soul is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. They are not on the same level as the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. They are not on the same level as it will be apparent in the beginning of chapter 4. If Arjuna is on the same level with Krishna, and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then their relationship of instructor and instructor will become meaningless. If both of them are deluded by illusionary energy Maya, then there is no need of one being instructor and the other being instructed. Such instructions would be useless in the clutches of Maya. No one can become an authoritative instructor. Under the circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity is Arjuna, who is a forgetful soul deluded by Maya. Jai. So, Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai. So chapter 2, in chapter 2, Krishna is talking about the signs of the soul. And in this chapter, in this sloka specifically, he's talking about how the body changes from one material body into another, and at death, it transports to another body. So there are many schools and universities that do discuss about the science of the body, but the Bhagavad Gita is the only place you can find the actual details on the exact details on the body, on how the body changes from, the soul changes from one body to another. So Krishna here starts talking off about how the soul is eternal and the body is material, and how the soul always stays the same and the body changes. So the body is seen in the first line of the purport is seen as changing his body every moment. So it shows how we wear clothes. So when we're a child, we wear smaller clothes. As we grow older, we wear much larger clothes. And once the clothes become useless, we just throw them away. So similarly, once the body we go old, then the body in terms becomes useless because we are not able to serve Krishna properly. So therefore, we give up the body, and then we get given another body to be able to serve the Lord. So after death, the body that we get is mainly based on our good karma and our bad karma and the activities we've done in our previous lives and our current lives. So if we carry out good activities, carry out devotional service in this life, then we are destined to get a good spiritual body, or be able to be in a position to serve the Lord in our next life. So an example of this can be taken from Bharat Maharaj and the deer story that he has. So when Bharat Maharaj, he left home after reigning for a long time, he decides to go and do austerity. So after doing austerity for a while, one day he sees a deer, a mother deer and a baby deer, and the mother deer gets obviously hurt by a hunter. So he becomes compassionate towards the deer, and then he decides to take care of the deer. So daily he would give the deer food and water and basically take care of it. And even when he was dying, he was thinking about the deer. Oh, how would the deer be able to live without me? How is it going to survive? So in the next life, when he died, he became a deer. So this clearly shows to us that whatever we're thinking of when we're dying, or whatever our consciousness is when we're dying, will have a major part in what our body becomes in the next life. So at every single moment, we can clearly see that that many living entities are born. They might not be human, but they are just born. So this shows us that we shouldn't take the human form as granted, and we should always use every second in serving the Lord. So for us to get a human form, it takes about 8,400,000 years to get a human body. So, species to get a human body. So we should see this as it takes a long time from ant to a human, takes a lot of time to become a human. And there's this thing that they have, it's like a stereotypical idea that everyone has, where they think, oh, we shouldn't start doing bhakti, or we shouldn't learn the Bhagavad Gita, or try and understand it at a young age, because they think, oh, when they're young, they should be able to live their life, they should be able to live a life of happiness, and then when they grow older, they have stress, this, that, that. But then when you grow through the ages, so after childhood, you go into youth, and youth, you're just stuck with studies, trying to get your exams, trying to get the job you want. That's me right now. And then after youth, you get put into the hassle of trying to get married, and then buying a house, then your kids, and you get a job. Yeah, you get a job obviously, and then you have kids, and you have to buy a house for them, you have to buy cars, this, that, the other. There's a whole list. But then all this goes away in a flash, and we just become old. By the time we know it, we become very old. And then when we get old, then they're like, oh, should we start reading now? But then when we get to the old age, we're just there like, where we get hassled, we get troubled by we might get some health problems, the body just won't cope with us and won't help us actually carry out devotional service. So then by the time we actually try and learn, we're already like halfway there, and then that's it. When Krishna calls you have to go. So that was the main thing there. And then Krishna, again, on the second line, he's talking about how one should not be bewildered by such a change. And here it says, Arjuna, so there should be no cause of lamentation by Arjuna on the account of death for either Bhishma or Drona. So here it clearly shows us that when a person dies, we should understand that he's just moving from one body into another, and Krishna has given him the opportunity to serve him once again. And he's done this by giving us another body to purify our consciousness, to be able to serve him in a more pure way. Because the Lord is known as the Father of the world, and because he's so compassionate, he gives us another chance, saying, here, have another chance, you can serve me again, even though you weren't able to serve me before. And in the purport is given, the example is given of Bhishma and Drona. And Bhishma Dev was well known for his devotion, bhakti, and so was Dronacharya. And it says here, because they were such noble souls, they were surely going to have spiritual bodies in our next life, or at least heavenly bodies for the superior enjoyment of material existence. So this shows us that if we try and become noble, Krishna will say that, okay, we should, as in he would be like, he would give us the opportunity to show us how we can improve and the reward that we kind of get from serving him. And then in the second part it says a sober man. It's talking about as dhira, a sober man, and such a man is never deluded by change. So here we can clearly see that. So if someone is a noble person, he is able to understand what happens with the body. He's able to understand with the soul. So therefore, so for example, a person who is very knowledgeable, who has a higher understanding, will be able to take on any small issue that comes his way. He'll be like, okay, this is the way we handle it. So when, for example, when we take kids like Arya and stuff, and Gorangi, Tadiksha, my age as well, they just, when we don't get something we want, we start, well, not me, but everyone else starts crying. However, like, because we haven't seen the full-on path of life, but our parents and elders are able to guide us and make sure we're going the right way. So therefore, in our life, we should take our parents and our guru as the person to make sure that we're going on the right path. And similarly, we should dhira, meaning a sober man who understands this transmigration, does not become disturbed. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't have any emotions, we shouldn't have any like worry that someone's died, because we will have some sort of attachment to them, but we shouldn't be too attached that it affects our whole life, and we should like move on, not move on properly, but have like an understanding that we should move on in life. And then in the third part of the the purple, it talks about us being fragmental parts of the Lord. So meaning that we are part and parcel of him, and it says that we have a tendency to fall into nature, material nature. So here it shows, Krishna is clearly stating that we are going to get deviated by Maya, and is only the way we can get out of Maya is through the mercy of the Guru and Gauranga. So through them we can try and get out of Maya. However, some people, Mayavadis, they believe that they can become one with the Lord and becoming just merging into the Lord. However, it clearly states here, to the example of the sky being reflected on the water, it talks about how the Lord is seen as the sun or the moon, and the stars are us. So we can make a picture, but we can't be one thing. So the stars are not the sun, they're not the moon, but they are stars and they are the moon. So therefore, Krishna is the star. Sorry, Krishna is the sun or the moon, and the star is us. So we can never become one with him. However, it does say here that when we do become liberated, we may get a spiritual body, but that will never mean that we will be one with the Lord. We'll be able to serve him with a spiritual body, but it won't be the Lord that we're not going to be with the Lord, as in part of the Lord. So if we go back to the shloka, it says here that the soul keeps changing. At the end, transmigrates. A sober person does not become bewildered by such a change. So we should all try and understand Bhagavad Gita and make sure we are on the path of becoming a bit more knowledgeable and not become too distressed by events such as death, which do occur in every person's life. But we should move on with knowing that the Lord has given them the chance again to serve him again. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Has anyone got questions or comments?
How do you do it at your age?
Stupid question. You've done it. No, please, seriously, in the context. You have a question.
How having seen you giving class reminds me of when I gave class at your age, so I see a lot of similarities. How is your experience of Krishna consciousness deepened as you've grown up in Krishna consciousness to the point of now you're giving a class?
I think it's all like, because when I was born, I was brought up in the temple, and I think that has helped me grow Krishna consciously and made me aware of how the real world is compared to basically the Bhagavad Gita has shown me. So because we've been taught in Bal Gopal, we've been taught like how we should like go through our life. We should act in our life such that we make sure we're a good devotee and good outside. So I think that's helped me a lot, like trying to grow in Krishna consciousness. And I think when you see other people outside, you can tell the difference of, you can tell when someone's being guided and someone's not being guided, because they will know what to do when and how they should act on like different situations. So I think that has been a big factor. Yes, Richard.
Do all religions have this belief? I mean, if you don't know this.
I think most, they believe that, I think some religions believe in reincarnation, because that's Hinduism and Buddhism. But I think after, because in Christianity they believe in that God decides if they go heaven to hell. But I think it's just mainly in
They
Hinduism.
believe there's a soul.
Yeah, they believe in the soul, but yeah,
But
they don't believe in
you have to wait
yeah,
till
Yeah.
the resurrection happens,
Yeah.
and then they decide.
Yeah.
Whereas reincarnation is quite
Happens,
automatic,
yeah.
regularly.
Yeah.
There isn't a period we have to wait till and whatever. And that's why they always say R.I.P. Rest
Yeah.
in peace.
Yeah.
But we don't rest in peace. Actually, we really work hard, traveling. So I would say that most of them believe that we are soul, and the similarity is they believe in the birth, the death, old age, disease, because they can witness that.
Yeah.
So that bit they get it right.
Yeah.
But the bit after that
Is-
is all lot of assumptions. So why is then Bhagavad Gita, you feel, is telling the truth? Why is it so?
because it's being literally spoken by Lord Krishna. So
Give a big round of applause.
so whatever he says is true.
The Supreme Lord spoke it. Other places you'll find references to, okay, that's our understanding, but Krishna, right in the second chapter, is saying, you're a soul and don't worry about the body, Do we have to be careless about the body?
No, we should take care of it because it is Krishna's property. He's given it to us to serve him. So we should also make sure we're in good health, so we're able to serve Lord Krishna. So yeah.
Anybody else got any questions? Please test him out.
Tomorrow.
So at 15, you're going through your GCSEs. How do you stay so disciplined at your age with the influences of the external world? How has Krishna consciousness helped you?
Because mainly in Krishna consciousness, when we're brought up, we're told about the four regulative principles, which are no illicit sex, no gambling, no meat eating, and no intoxication. So this makes sure that we're not being affected, or we're not attracted towards material side. And being brought up in Krishna consciousness, you're told that you shouldn't do those things. So when you go out there, when you're my age, you already know that you shouldn't do this thing, because if you do, then you're just going to fall more into Maya, which you want to get out of. So, anyone else?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's your mother.
It's a planned trip. It's a plan.
Wait till she asks the question. Yeah.
You shouldn't wait until the end. You said you should start from the childhood. So, because everybody is busy with children, they want to play, and youngsters, they want to enjoy. Everybody is busy with their material life. So, how we should balance this material life and the spiritual life?
I think the answer to that would be whenever you get like 5-10 minutes in your house, when you're free, just spend 5-10 minutes just going through the Bhagavad Gita, or just choosing one chapter and doing one verse a day. So by that day, about 365 days, you can get through at least half of the Bhagavad Gita. So in that way, so you're able to so you're still able to know what's in the Gita and how Krishna is telling us to live our life, and therefore we're not just wasting our time doing material activities.
So how do you balance the spiritual and the material? I mean, is material bad?
No, not bad, but we should make sure our material is not too much, is not overriding our spirituality, and we should have like a balance.
That's why we call it regulate.
Yeah.
You regulate your life.
Yeah.
It means bit of materialism, bit of spiritualism. And Prabhupada has given an idea how to do that. Now please realize when you're young, you have lots more desires than when you get old. And when you get old, it's kind of regrets, like I wish I had done this, I wish I had done that. But when you're young, you have dreams, and you have role models, and you want to be like them. There's nothing wrong with that. Please tell your children, do have role models, because you have to work hard to get there. So you're teaching your children to have a dream, work hard, and achieve there, become achiever. And then with the devotional side gives you two wings, left wing and a right wing. And then you can fly and achieve your dreams. And when you get your dreams, you realize it's nothing. I thought it was great. But don't stop dreaming, you know, about I want to be better than what I am. So, like Arjun, you know, he was expert in fighting. People could argue very well. People could argue. So people could argue that Arjun was great devotee of Krishna. Why is he fighter? Why is he a fighter? He's a Kshatriya. He was defending his land. So he was encouraged by Krishna to use his weapons and learn the art, because society has to be run as well. So please don't mistake this by coming to this temple that we don't promote a regular way of living. We have homes, we have to pay bills and everything. So please have that as well. On top of that, keep being Krishna conscious. So you find time to do bhakti and everything like that. We are not promoting a drop your responsibilities and just do mala and nothing happens. Then you go to the forest. Then don't bother the society and whatever. But if you're going to live in the society, you're going to go through the period where you'll have desires, you want to do better. There's nothing wrong with that. And like you said, you don't want it to take over and you forget Krishna like that. And then a swap happens. You come into old age and you've done what you wanted to do, but you know, now I want to champion myself in being closer to the Lord. And there's loads of examples in this room. We started off not knowing what is life about. There's Vidhu Prabhu there, ourselves. We did our degrees. We weren't happy. Then we turned to this. We never promote this. Forget the studies. Just forget all these material things. This is too negative. This is all Krishna's kingdom. Everything is Krishna's kingdom. Don't look negatively at it. But if you go away from Krishna, you're being negative. If you go towards Krishna, you're being positive while you're here as well. It's not that magic happens when you go back to the spiritual world. Magic happens here as well. You start to relate to him like that. So thank you. It's your first class. Just wanted to add a little bit there. So, you know, can you all bless him, please? This is how we do it. Put your left hand on your heart and the right hand towards him. And we chant Mahamantra once. Okay, here we go. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. Give me a round of applause. Sudarshan Prabhu ki. Now, if everybody can stand up now, we'll do Aarti, and then there'll be Prasadam after that. Thank you.
Just get it on Amazon. Just get it on Amazon. जयो सचिनंदन जयो नीताई चांद सचिनंदन जयो नीताई चांद
जयो सचिनंदन जयो नीताई चांद जयो सचिनंदन जयो नीताई चांद
जयो सचिनंदन जयो नीताई चांद सचिनंदन जयो नीताई चांद
सचिनंदन जयो नीताई चांद जयो सचिनंदन जयो नीताई चांद
की बजयो जयो গৌরাচন্দে আরতি কো শোভা শিবা জয় জয় গৌরাচন্দে আরতি কো শোভা শিবা জয় চন্দে আরতি কো শোভা শিব জয় জয় গোরা চন্দে আরতি কো শোভা জগ মনোলোভা জানামে তথা ভানে জগ মনোলোভা রাখি আনি তাই চান আমি গদধা চাত্রধারা নিকটে অদ্বৈত শ্রী বাস চাত্রধারা বসিয়তে গৌরাচাঁদ রত্ন সিমসানে आरती को रहना ब्रह्मा आदि देव खाने आरती को रहना ब्रह्मा आदि देव खाने यादि कोरी जमरा दुलाया नारा हरि यादि कोरी जमरा दुलाया संजय मुकुंद वासु गोषदि गाया संजय मुकुंद वासु गोषदि गाया शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करता शंखा बाजे गंधा बाजे बाजे करता माधुरा मरधंगा बाजे परमर साला माधुरा दंगा बाजे परमर साला शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 भाजे शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर मधुर
बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंखा बाजे शंखा बाजे ओ मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे ओ मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे ओ मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे ओ मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल ओ निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल बाहु कोटि चंद्राजिनी वदन उज्जवला बाहु कोटि चंद्राजिनी हरि बोला वदन उज्जवल गाला देशे वहना माला गोरे जलभाला गाला देशे वहना माला घरे शिवा सुख नारदा प्रेमे गदगाधा शिवा सुख प्रेमे गदगाधा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौरारा संपादा जय हो गौरा जन वारोति को शोभा जय गौरा चांदे जानामि ततमाने जाग मनोलो जग जन मानो लोबा गौरांगे आरती शोभा जग जन माना लोबा गौरांगे आरती शोभा जग जन मानो लोबा गौरांगे आरती शोभा जग जन मानो लोबा जग जन मानो लोबा जन मानो लोबा जग 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 जन मानो लोबा गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल ओ हरि बोल 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 जय जय निताय गौर
हरि बोल हरे कृष्ण नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo bolo.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. बोलो हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare
Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango
Gaurango Nitai Gaurango
Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango
Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango
Nitai Gaurango
Nitai Gaurango Gaura Hare
Nitai Gaurango Gaura Hare
Nitai Gaurango Gaura Hare
Gaura Gaura Hare
Gaura 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 Hare
Gaura Gaura Hare
Gaura 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 Hare
Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hare
Nana Gaura Hare
Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hare
Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hare
Gaura 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 Hare
Gaura 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 Hare
Gaura 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 Hare
Gaura 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 Hare Hari Bol
जगन्नाथो स्वामी नयन पथगामी नयन पथगामी भव तुमे
जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी नयन पथगामी भवतु मे
नीलाचलो चंद्र स्वामी जगन्नाथ नीलाचल माधवो प्यारे जगन्नाथ
नीलाचल प्रणधन प्यारे जगन्नाथ नीलाचल माधव जय जगन्नाथ
जय जगन्नाथ जय श्याम सुंदरो प्यारे जगन्नाथ
जय जगन्नाथ
लोयो जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय श्याम सुंदरो प्यारे जगन्नाथ
जय हो जगन्नाथ जय हो जगन्नाथ जय श्याम सुंदर प्यारे जगन्नाथ
जय सचिनंदन गौरा हरि विष्णु प्रिया गान धन दया बिहारी
जय हो सचिनंदन गोरा हरि विष्णु प्रिय प्राण दाना नदिया बिहारी
गौरा 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 हरि पतित पावन गौरा हरि
गौरा 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 हरे ते पावन गौरा हरे
जय निताय चांद जय निताय चांद
जय निताय
जय निताय चांदक चक्रधार
जय निताय चांद Jai Nitai Chand, Jai Nitai Chand. Radha Mata.
Jai Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda Radhe.
Radha Gokulananda Radhe.
Jai Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe.
जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे
Jai Radha Ramana, Radha Ramana Radhe.
जय राधा रमण राधा रमण राधे
Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman.
जय सीता राम लक्ष्मण हनुमान सीता राम लक्ष्मण
Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman.
राम लक्ष्मण हनुमान सीता राम लक्ष्मण हनुमान
हमारो तन राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा हे हमारो तन राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा
वे हमारो दन राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा
बजोरे मन राधा 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 राधा
राधा राधा
बजोरे मन राधा 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 हे हमारो धन राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा हे हमारो धन राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा बजोरे मन राधा 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 राधा
रे वन राधा 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 राधा
बजोरे मन राधा 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 राधा
राधा राधा राधा राधा राधा
हे हमारो धन राधा 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 राधा
राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा
हे हमारो धन राधा 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 राधा
हमारो धन राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा
हमारो धन राधा 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 राधा
हमारो धन राधा 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 राधा
बजोरे मन राधा राधा राधा
वन राधा श्री राधा श्री राधा
जयो प्रभुपाद जयो प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जगत गुरु
जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जगत गुरु जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जगत गुरु
Prabhupada, Jai
Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jagat Guru. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Jayo Gurudev, Jayo Gurudev, Jayo Jayo Gurudev. Jayo Gurudev, Jayo Jayo Gurudev, Jayo Gurudev, Jayo Jayo Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai
Gura Premanandari Bol Jayam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sashri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Vibhidi Fanuracharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada's Christmas Book Distribution Marathon Ki Jai Shri Shri Sachinandan Nitai Chand Ki Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhav Shri Radha Raman Lal Ki Jai Shri Manima Shri Madhusun Shri Giri Raj Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासुदेव गौर भक्त वृंद की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय हरे कृष्णा महामंत्र की जय हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय ट्रांसजेंडर बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय ISKCON Coventry यात्रा की ISKCON वर्ल्ड वाइड यात्रा की जय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि बोल all glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. We will now sing Narsingh Aarti. We will have one name today, Mrs. Bajaj. Do you know Narsingh Aarti? Some of you may know by now, you think? We got the song sheets, I mean. Yeah. Would like to sing it? Yeah, it'd be nice if you could. Song sheet, please. Get a song sheet. It's behind the calendar. Okay. Number 6 on number 6, please. Okay. Number 6. Yes. Is there one mic? Number 6. Song number 6. Yeah.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Go all the way. Keep the volume. Jai.
There's an additional mic here. Which hook? Come on, you're all too shy today.
No.
I don't know.
Shivam doesn't know the words. Number 6, okay.
For your grandmother. Namaste.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Guru Maharaj ki, Jai Gaur Premanand.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we're nearly at the end of the program. And the best bit is now we're going to be having some prasad in a few minutes, but the few announcements first. Can you bring this down, please? Yeah. Just give me that one, please. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare. Once again, we want to thank the Bajaj family so much for sponsoring today's feast and thinking of us. I hope whatever we did in the 11, 13 days after the passing away, that you were happy and as you felt we did something special for you, and that we made you understand what happened. So, I must say, in the beginning, Haridas was saying, generally around this, when such an occasion is there is a very somber and sad mood, and the feeling that we should always have long faces, sad faces, and not be so jubilant. But in ISKCON, we have a habit of breaking that mold. He did warn you later on, maybe some dancing and singing. And join us if you want to. And my God, I was sitting there, I see you all dancing, big smiles on their faces, and that must make your mother, grandmother so happy. Look at my family smiling and dancing. They are happy. They are happy. But one thing, as he did say earlier on, it's all in connection when you're doing it for Krishna. Then it's appropriate. If this being done away from here, it would be inappropriate. But you're in the temple doing it for Krishna, and the smiles were there, the dancing was there. Fantastic. Thank you very much. A couple of announcements. We have mentioned. This is for everybody's benefit, that this is the month of book distribution. Prabhupada really encouraged it. We saw the product of Prabhupada's book distribution today. The young boy, only 14, 15 years? 15 years old, first class. We just threw him at it. You just warned yesterday you're going to give a class today in front of new guests. Room full of new guests, and he did wonderfully well. And this is the product of investing in our children in a way which we are forgetting out there in the world, how to invest in our children. We're just handing them a mobile phone, or here's the internet, you play with yourself. We're not investing our own time and energy in our children, generally I'm seeing out there, So it's possible. We have to make the effort. We need to make the effort. And he was reading from Bhagavad Gita. So in this month of December, there's all over the world, ISKCON devotees are going out distributing Prabhupada's books. The main one being Bhagavad Gita, but Prabhupada has many books. So we in Coventry raise sponsors, so we can buy them now get them in stock. So throughout the year, those who are unable to buy one, we can just give them away. So we generally do that. And this year we were in trouble leading up to December. We were on the books. We had to quickly buy some. So they do go out every year. So my appeal is to everybody. How much £10 a book. £10 a book. And it's been that price for so many years. Inflation proof. £10 a book. Thank you. Now, because the fun you had, can I mention the 2 programs coming up very soon? As I say, everything we do, we want to connect it with Krishna. So the 2 events I'm talking about is Christmas next Sunday. This next Sunday. And we Krishnanize Christmas here. So we're going to... I'm going to do it now. Okay, here we go.
Haribol, Haribol, Jai. Okay, everybody ready? You know this is a very familiar tune with a difference. 2, 3, 4. We wish you Hare Krishna. We wish you a Hare Krishna. We wish you a Hare Krishna and a happy